And so what I get to do is I get to see how all this techie stuff works, and I'm
Sure, the secret sauce.
geeking out over here with how we're bringing it all live, and it's pretty slick. Thank you for
Absolutely.
showing, Matthew.
Now, I just thought of one thing that's a little bit different doing it this way. Usually having the interaction of at least one other person gives you something back and forth to listen to. But right now, we're going to just be talking. There's no other audio coming from anybody else. I just thought.
Well, I'll just keep talking because that's what I'm known for. You know, people know how much I just love to talk, and it's not actually true. People tell me,
Exactly.
aren't you going to talk more?
So welcome everybody to a new session, or this week's session of weekly sessions. That's too many sessions in that session, I'd say.
Well, you know.
Anyways, so we are about to get started. We've got some great questions from the group and a whole bunch of stuff to share. I guess what I'd like to ask today for everybody in the comments, I would love to know how many people have finished their certification yet. # beating Matthew, I think is what it was.
Beat Matthew Fulton or
something of that nature. So if you've already done your certification, if you've finished it, please let us know in the comments, both on Zoom and on Facebook. So let's get started here. Boom, share. All right.
So we are live on your page.
Perfect. Then we can click on the share into the group would be good. So the first thing I want to talk about with everybody today is, I don't know, for some reason Greg hasn't had this yet. This new login screen that's occurring. I don't know if any other people have seen this yet or not, but they've changed it up to where it's the username on one, then it flips to the next, and on the next one, that's where you actually will have the password. So it doesn't let me use my LastPass anymore, which is kind of annoying.
You know, I haven't seen that yet. It was a new experience that you showed to me, and I tried to replicate it here at your office, and I wasn't able to get it to pop up. But clearly, it's something that's rolling out for different different reasons.
Another change
in their infinite wisdom, right?
Yes. So I don't know if anybody else has actually seen that as well. Let us know also on that. So one of the first questions we had from the group was, basically, I'm one who used the QBOA app, which is now leaving. So they're talking about the QuickBooks Online application, desktop application, basically. Any advice on how to mimic the multi-tab, multi-client view? I'm trying to use only one browser while traveling last week, and it drove me nuts. So one browser means one monitor also, I think. Which
one browser could mean one monitor, or it could mean just that they didn't want to install, one Edge and one Chrome install. So the best way that I've been able to get it done is to utilize the Chrome identity. So you get Chrome installed on your desktop, and we're sharing the screen. It looks like you're just sharing a little box there.
Am I? No, I highlighted it. It should be right.
Okay. So
I just used the same color to confuse you.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about colors getting confused. I think you're the king of that, right?
Yep, exactly.
So utilize the different identities in Google Chrome so that you can set up one identity that logs in to one company in QuickBooks, and the other one that logs in as another identity that you can log in two different Chrome sessions and do things side by side. I do something similar when I'm trying to reconcile an intercompany account.
Oh, that's a good point.
I'll pull up a browser session with one company, and then pull up another browser session for the other company, and then I go to reconcile the due to from accounts on each side. And
that way you can, because you have two company files open at the same time,
and so it's almost as if I'm getting a bank statement from the other company saying this is the statement of our account. And what it really boils down to is you're comparing, okay, there's a $60 charge over here. Let's make sure we record it as $60 in the other company.
That's actually pretty smart. I probably would have been silly and took a screenshot, but then you're scrolling, stops. Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes, and it's live and interactive. So you fix one, then you can fix the other, and your goal, you eventually get it all down to 0, and it's a beautiful thing.
And then, of course, just to make sure that everybody's aware of this trick, of course, when you're on a tab, if you right click for PC users, you would be able to come down here and go duplicate, creates a duplicate tab that will bring you, I mean, I use this all the time just so I don't have to go backwards if I'm looking at a certain report and I need to go find something new about a vendor, duplicate it so I can go right back to it and do another part of a search as necessary. So
that's another part of the search that works as long as you are inside the same company.
It has to be in the same company.
It has to be in the same company. It breaks everything when you are in that other tab, switch to another company, and then all sorts of things get all wonky. And so that's why I really love utilizing the different Chrome identities for that.
All right, so let's go to our next one we got here. Tricked myself here. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the re-upping your certification. And let's see if our comments, how many people said what about it, if you guys have done it yet or not. Where is my thing? Can't find the chat.
Hit the 3 dots.
There it is, finally popped up. So, okay, no, not done yet. Not on the cert. Am I crazy? I am, yeah, pretty much. Isn't it still tax season? This is the never-ending tax season, actually, I'm pretty sure, Vicky. And so what we're going to show you right now, pay attention and read between the lines on some of this stuff, okay? The new recertification, time-wise, there's a smaller window that to be done this year. So we wanted to kind of find out who has actually done the certification yet. For this, if you're doing advanced and you want to keep your advanced, you have to pass all 3 sections of it. So if you pass just the first 2, what's going to happen is you'd still be QBO certified, but you would not be advanced certified. Going to that, of course, I'll come out here. We just go to our training area. They've done a good job with the details. I haven't finished the test yet, unfortunately.
I haven't started the test yet, so there's that.
I didn't know I was racing until last night. So
yeah, well, you know, it's all about beating Matthew Fulton.
Exactly. The layout of the information, they've done a really good job on. The stuff that they are focusing towards, it's a good time to know some of the newer functionality features. Always pay attention to that. I don't know what's going to be on the quiz of it yet, but I thought we would share some new features inside of QuickBooks Online that just might happen to be some of the stuff they talk about. Keep in mind, there is trainings, 2 different trainings. There's something coming up on the 10th or the 12th. I thought I saw Nio Carter is doing something with Intuit for a training. And then you've got this one here with Aaron Walsh-Dwyer on the 18th where you can register for free. Tips and tricks when people are going through certification. I always like to kind of talk about that as well. What are some of the tips and tricks that you really recommend for doing this stuff?
You know, in the 5 years that I've been, you know, certified in QBO, the one thing that I always go back to, and my process gets better every year, is looking at the questions and then taking a snapshot of, I used to actually print out on paper, and then I realized what a waste that was because I use Snagit. And so if I just go ahead and do a screenshot of that question, and I always make sure that I select my answer first.
Yep.
So it shows up, do a screenshot, and then it'll show up in your camera roll or whatever you want to call it that's inside of Snagit. And then you have a frame of reference. Well, okay, I screwed that up. So what's the wrong answer? And then you can go in and do the research to figure out why that was the wrong answer and get to the correct answer.
So I do something similar, but I actually use Microsoft PowerPoint. I do everything PowerPoint. So I will have PowerPoint open. And as I'm going through, like you said, questions up, select the one I want, do a screenshot and just put it on each slide, because then I can save the whole book as, research test. No, if you ask me, I can't send it to you. Sorry. But then I'll have all the answers there. And part of the reason to do that is, should you have a situation where it freezes up, you don't have to go and try to rethink your way through the different questions.
Yes.
You can just look at it and click them off and go through it a little bit faster.
Yeah. And, the other thing that's been happening the last couple of years has been that your experience of going through the questions, you're not going to get the same questions necessarily that I am, or they're going to be in different orders, and the answers will be in different orders. So you might answer A to the same question, and I'm going to answer D to the same question. And, there's no reason to really cheat on this, because this is our job. This is what we signed up for. Let's make sure we have the knowledge. But these are kind of tips that you and I have used over the years to make the process easier on us.
Kelly, I think it was Kelly Parks, had posted a comment earlier this week talking about the certification process. And I agree with what she was saying. We're all trying to be experts in what we do. And that means we need to be willing to dedicate certain time to being experts in this profession. From that aspect, taking the time to do the certification, especially the advanced certified. I'm a huge, everybody can do the basic QuickBooks cert, but the advanced makes it where you show up higher. People you earn your street cred a little bit better, I think is a good way to say it. And keeping that and maintaining it, it's absolutely worth it. I think I'm one of 3 in 30 people in my area when you do a ProAdvisor search, and I do get leads quite often from it. So I know it kind of varies for some people. Yeah,
in the little neck of the woods that I'm in Northern California, I definitely rank higher because of the QBO Advanced Certified, and definitely get the ProAdvisor leads as a result of that.
Agreed. So talking new features, I'm going to show a couple of little slides, but then I'm going to actually dive in and show you the stuff where it's working around instead of just pictures. Again, this whole slide deck will be downloadable. So I've made links to the image links over to the trainings if everybody's interested into that stuff. So one of the cool areas, this isn't brand spanking new, but it's newer and I don't really hear people talking about it, and I haven't used it. Prep for taxes. This is a QuickBooks Online for accountants specific tool. And it, as you can kind of see from the screen here, it has these different tabs along the top of different functionality. So you can do different year-end tasks. One of the things I really like is they finally listened and made it to where you can add hyperlinks. So we could, from ClickUp, have it set up where you've got basic tasks, and inside of it, you click, takes you to a ClickUp task, list of all the tasks, hard for me to say, and you're grouping it so it doesn't make this super, super muddy, of course. You've got the Documents tab is the next one over, where each of these, you can go into each of the different chart of accounts and actually upload specific documents with notes under that specific chart of account. Review and audit, the group statements and tax mapping. And I'm jumping that fast because to make it a little more interesting, let's just jump over here. No.
This was all working when
Thank you, QuickBooks.
This was all working when we started.
Yeah, and wasn't showing my company information. Thank you. So, all right, we'll go to my fake company file. And this is how you load a company. So under the accountant tools at the top here, you've got your prep for tax.
And presumably, does this flow into PTO?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the next step. And I don't do tax, so this is why it's even a question for me. But if PTO might be the next
And
big
can you,
thing
what
for
does
them.
PTO mean?
Pro Connect Tax Online?
Perfect.
Yeah.
As like personal time off, maybe I get more time off? No. Pro Connect.
And maybe
yes.
you do with prep for taxes.
So, so if you think about it, you've got month-end review for all your different client files, right? So you're going through, you're doing that, making sure they're given the tools to try to help close all those things down.
Yeah.
Then you get to year end, and I dig this task capability that you can add your own stuff in, send engagement letter. I'm going to click on edit. Here I can put the URL link if I want to, name the link. So let's go, let's do something, QBC up. We'll do the new website.
What new website is that, Matthew?
What am I supposed to talk about, but I'm not doing a good job about that, right? Boom, and save it. So theoretically now we should be able to click here.
Click on the QBCL link.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it sends you right out to QB Community Live.
That's cool. See, that would be really neat with any kind of task management stuff that you're doing. Really that, so in this one, engagement letter, you've got it. You don't have to go looking for it, which I always do too much. And then you've got your status on the side here. So to do, waiting, done, all this type of stuff. I just learned something. I'll come back around in just a moment on this, but these options here with the month end review, there's a little clocks on your bookkeeping review on your dashboard. And if you finished them up, the little clocks get colored. So you can visually see like how far along the process you are.
So I've only just started into doing the month end review that way. And I got to the end and thought I had done everything and nothing changed. And so I was left a little flat. I was just like, oh, I wanted banners and confetti.
I wanted to pop up. Yeah, exactly. Confetti to pop up.
But nothing happened.
That's a bummer. So then documents, I was saying real quickly, if you're adding a document on, you go to the file or the folder you want. So statements, everything else would be perfect with this. Mm-hmm. What I don't know is if the statements, as they're getting pulled in, I'm hoping the statements actually get sucked right into that as well. That would be a smart integration feedback button, right? Add on, you can upload, of course, and then you can download all this stuff. You can add a link. So if you've got it in your own Google Drive or Teams or whatever, you can do that. Add different folders. Folders from template. I missed that before.
That's actually a beautiful thing that, I didn't know anything about until just right now, but it was what my bookkeeper and I were kind of going through the other day. Like, how do we create a templated folder structure? Our goal was to do it inside of Google Drive, and we're thinking that we might be able to get that done in there, but this might be an even slicker solution.
It could also end up being a situation where now we have 15 more places we're trying to think we're putting stuff and there's inconsistency, but hey, it's worth trying and breaking it at least. Yeah. So review and adjust is another portion of this. So you can be coming in and evaluating the different totals. Let's see, if you review it and it's good, click it off to go through the sections, make an adjustment, click the button, there it goes. And you can do a full journal entry. One of the things that I noticed is you have the ability for, what was it? You can add specific notes. I think it's the next one, where the notes that you make will be numbered. So I believe when you do your full reporting, everything else, it gives you like the numbering.
Like a footnote sort
exactly.
of thing. Ah, that's beautiful.
They've been working hard on this for some time on this part. So this is interesting. Grouping and statements. Your tax professionals that you work with will love you for this. If you can, you find out what do you need certain places. In this example, I went in and I created this group, and here's that thing I was talking about, where for payroll liabilities, these were just all listed. So I created a group with all of them. You can add a note onto it. The reference code is what I was talking about. Upload attachments, everything else. So you're basically prepping everything so it's all ready to go. And then you can, of course, export all this stuff as well. The last part before I show you that is the tax mapping. So make sure you know what you're doing on this. You map stuff to the wrong account. And I mean, this is all a facade over the front. So it's not going to fundamentally change anything about the financials behind the scenes.
It's basically the bridge that gets you from your QuickBooks Online file into the Pro Connect tax software. And if you build that bridge as slickly as they're starting to. Remember that this thing was in here 2 years ago, but it's come a long way. And you're now flowing on a 5-lane, highway instead of a rickety bridge.
Well, sometimes the upgrades of all this stuff reminds me of, I want everybody to think about the last time they were doing construction on the freeway or a bridge around your place. If they're rebuilding, like they're going to widen the bridge, what do they have to do? They go and they build a whole new bridge, and they start with that and they start putting cars on there. So that way they can take people off the original cars, right? And then they start to build the other one. And then once they got the other pieces all put together, they have to demo all the stuff in the middle to get rid of it so it all works and looks nice all together. Sometimes I feel like we're stuck in the middle of all that. I don't know.
Yeah, we have a highway up in our neck of the woods that has been perpetually under construction for 20-something years. And I think it's always going to be a work in progress, but every step of the way, you at least get a little bit of relief going there.
So our next part here, I'd love to know what you guys think of, for the prep for taxes. Is this something that you guys have used, would use? Do you want more information about it? If you do, let me know and we can make some videos and such on it. So our next area is, so they also happen to talk about some of the changes with like the banking area, which is one of my favorites, of course. The new bank feeds, the filtering. Now, again, this has been around for a bit, but it's still getting rolled out on all the different company files. It seems like everybody went to QuickBooks Online because bank feeds, the efficiency, I would say, right? Do you use bank feeds for all your clients, I'd assume? Or
no, what's a bank feed? Let's start there.
Good point.
No, it's the banking section, or what do they call it on the business view, transactions? They don't even call it banking section anymore, which makes training a difficult thing sometimes when they're looking at one screen and we're looking at another, but we digress.
That's a great point.
The bank feed section, though, yes, is where all of the magic happens. You get yourself with a beautiful set of bank rules, and I have one client that every week I challenge myself to see how many of the 150 to 200 transactions they had that week are automatically matched.
I love that.
Beyond automatically matched, but also smart matched to existing transactions.
Yes.
Right. And when you get that 120 and within 2 clicks, you're down to 6 or 7 that you've got to resolve, that's some pretty slick intuition there. See,
nice. See what he did there? I have a client who shall remain nameless because I don't want to charge them less for the stuff we get to do, that we've been able to set up bank rules. And as I'm doing a quarterly update, 85% of it's click, click, boom, and it's done. Yep. What's neat about the changes now, and I feel like they kind of stole the idea from what I was doing, but having the search description capability. So this is, if you're going through and you're trying to rebuild a company quickly, you want to basically sort everything by description, kind of get all the like-minded ones right next to each other. Or you could do something where you type in a part of it and have it search. So it filters down to similar items so you can bulk choose them and batch update them to try to, we're all creatures of habit. So we go to the same breakfast place all the time, or we go to the same gas station, so forth. They also have in here, I like the idea, but I think this could be flawed. Missing payee or customer.
Well, they're going to come up with a lot of
wrong ones.
Yep. Let's just put it that way, because it may not be missing the payee or customer information.
Auto-suggesting something.
It just might be auto-suggesting something incorrect. And I wish that there were a way around that. And that's why I oftentimes will avoid. In fact, I specifically click the little cog over there.
Yeah, here.
And remove the payee section.
Oh.
So go back up. Remove the payee. So all that they're looking at is when your client is looking at, all they see is Intuit payments. They're not going to see necessarily that.
It's a brilliant idea.
Now, when they click into the line, the
They'll
payee
see it,
field
yeah.
still shows up, and then that does lead to a little bit of confusion. But it really helped in one big cleanup job that I actually gave him access to the bank feed. I was like, it's going to be so much easier if you go in here and do it. And I'm going to get rid of the payee section, because that is oftentimes, AI or whatever isn't exactly perfect. So we take that out of the equation.
Well, theoretically, what you could also do is the different filtering, right? So rules applied would be the first one, that if it has something with rules,
that would be a rule that was named into it, for example.
Well, it would act, so it's been triggered by a rule specifically.
But you're filtered for Intuit right now. That might be.
That's why. Good call. So yeah, so anything here is got a rule of some sort. So I feel comfortable that a client could then look at and accept these. Now, I don't ever use the AutoAdd. Do you?
I often use the AutoAdd, but only after
validating it.
I validate how strong that is. If I set up a bank, if I see that somebody set up a bank rule, for payee name contains 76, and auto-coded as gas. Anytime anybody goes to a place that happens to have 76 in the phone number of the description of the,
or just USA, right? If you get, that's another fun one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've had so many cleanups like that. Okay,
but the cleanups get easy when you see those things, because you just undo everything that was accepted by that rule, and then reprocess it the right way, and you charge them accordingly.
The other thing this kind of makes me think of as well would be the month end close, right? So Megan was saying, I've been burned by the AutoAdd. Megan, I agree. I've had I think they fixed this, but there's definitely been issues where if you had a rule that was auto adding something and you delete a transaction to where if it's connected to the bank feed, it goes back to the bank area if you delete a transaction. But the AutoAdd
re-trigger it the next time.
I had something I did with C data one time, and it kept things kept getting added back. I was like, what the heck is going on? So going back to what we had here, the month end close, one of the things you can do in here as well is review transactions without payee names. It's something to me is one of my biggest pet peeves all the time.
100%.
My team started getting smart when I was like, look, this has to get cleared out. They started putting deposit, unknown. I'm like, stop that. Because, I would have done it too. These are the little, I know I'm scrolling a bit here, but these are on the side here. As you check these off as done, right? I'll finish the section and we'll go back out and you can see that the little indicators start showing as being done. And then don't forget you're choosing your period of time that you're closing all that stuff.
Yeah. So you see how you have in progress there at the top?
Yeah.
I went through and I ticked off as done all of them.
Okay.
And it still said in progress, and I just got frustrated and gave up. So that might have been a user error or something along those lines, but
possible.
I don't get into that screen.
Did you clear your cookies?
I should probably clear my cache and cookies, which do you know the trick, the shortcut to that? You don't have to clear all of your cache and cookies.
So
let's go back into Chrome.
Yep.
If we're in Chrome and you hit that little thing up there and you go down to cookies, and then you remove all of I just remove all of those because all the other ones are ad based anyway. And you may have to log back into one or two different applications. Yeah. But whereas clearing your whole browser cache and cookies makes you log back into 80,000 different things. Good point. This just has you relogging back into Google or Intuit.
Including you have to go into your LastPass first to be able to get to their stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
So now if you did, if we did just Intuit, it's going to make you log back in, of course.
It is going to make you log back in, but it does clear your cookies for that site, which oftentimes will resolve a lot of issues. That being said, that was a squirrel, right?
Well, and I'm going to admit to something here. As proud as I am that usually I don't ever have to call technical support because it usually takes longer. I have to admit, like at least 20% of the time when they say, "Did you clear your cookies?" I'm like, "Damn it, I forgot to do that." Like, damn it. But yeah, that definitely occurs. All right, so bank feed stuff that they're going to talk about that inside of there. So the grouping is one other thing that with the bank feeds. I hate the grouping.
I have never seen the grouping until just right now, and I can't imagine a use case for it.
I mean, the money in, money out's kind of nice. The other thing it'll do grouping by is,
but isn't it just sorting it by dollar amount is going to naturally do that same thing? So
it will. So if it sees a bunch of different transactions that are similar, again, think about that rebuild aspect of it. It's going to take 6 of them and combine it together. Let's see if it does it right now. So if we go money in,
yeah, so that's only your first 300.
Only first 300.
Right, but it doesn't group anything other than money in or money out.
It did before, I thought. Well, ain't I stinker? Yeah, I thought it would do, maybe if you do a different like this.
Oh, okay. I get where you're going with this.
Always find out. We'll find out, huh?
Right.
I knew it.
There you go. Okay. So okay, maybe I'll have to play around with this for sure then. That there's definitely potentially maybe kind of a little bit of
I don't like it anyways.
Huge value.
I don't like it anyways, because now I got more of them to go through. So
there might be a use case though, if we really got down to it.
So in here,
but
yeah,
it's gonna be on the test probably.
We'd have to ask Mrs. Linda.
Oh yeah, because she was super fast in beating Matthew to getting QBO Advanced certified.
Thank you to all the people, by the way. Loved it. Yeah. So all right. So other stuff that they, talking about things to kind of study through. I actually did find, like, I've gone through and I watched and read all of the different information inside of the sessions. I just haven't done the tests yet. And it was good info. They talk a bit more about merchant processing. This is one, like, I wanted to actually put a slide up of this, so I'm going to call it out here. They specifically talk about the best practices of signing up merchant processing for your clients. And it is their suggestion that it's always best that the client be the one to set that stuff up. I can see it because of liability, everything else, but I would strongly suggest that it is better if you help them set it up with Intuit through a reseller merchant processing to make some extra residual off of it.
You can definitely have a opportunity to make some residual sales off of that using the Intuit reseller network.
Exactly. Other areas, so it doesn't go heavily into QuickBooks Online Advanced, but what else did they have in there besides trying to give all of it away? They talked about, so inventory is something else they'll go through also. And that was interesting. They were discussing the differences like perpetual versus periodic inventory. And again, I'm just talking about the stuff that's in the content, not actually what's
having done the test.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that helps give everybody a little bit of extra push forward onto it, right?
Yep.
Now, we had another question, which I didn't get a chance to put as a slide in from the group, but they were talking about the ability to text message with your clients. So again, comments into the post. How many people currently text message with their clients? Go back and forth. I mean, that's what I prefer. How about you?
I kind of prefer as long as they're utilizing the system that I've set up, which was actually suggested by you, and you're going to get
Mhm.
into that, because with the Dialpad system, I'm able to still log in and see what other texts are going on,
Yeah.
seeing, if anything goofy is going on with conversations between clients and my staff. I don't like them texting my cell phone,
Amen.
my personal phone anymore. That used to be my only way of being in communication with them. But I've reached a point in my firm now that I need to draw that line. And no, you go through the 7219 number now.
I don't think there's ever a reason with technology now, you should never have your personal cell phone number on a business card.
Yeah.
You don't need it. So Dialpad is a voice over internet protocol system. There's Ring Central out there, there's Vonage, there's Grasshopper, like people were saying. I've tried basically all of them. Started with Grasshopper and it did a decent job. I haven't looked at the interface recently, but Dialpad was one of the easier to set up. They were still new and didn't have tons of features. Now they have tons of features, but still easy to use. And you can set it up to where you get text message straight into it, multimedia message. I was going to show part of it now. It's all searchable, which is great. So I have a whole history of all my conversations of things. I can't tell you how many times I've gone in to search for something and on a person and found I needed a certain code from 4 months ago, or they told me a chart of account or something, and it was there.
I had that very situation pop up the other day with a sales tax thing. And I remembered that he had texted it to me. So I just had to search for sales tax and there it popped up.
That's exactly. So I have a used car dealership and I had to find out their dealer number. Mm-hmm. That was what I was like, because I didn't want to call and be like, what was that number again?
I try to get all those things ahead of time and be ready, but you're never 100% ready.
There's always something. I think there was just a question here. I actually just reminded a team member today, we have a company policy of never sharing our personal numbers. Smart. The other thing I do with this is we set up for multi-factor authentication. This is a workaround. I call it the Parkway workaround. That's not the right one. That when we have to register stuff for our clients for multi-factor authentication, we set up a special number. It's a security number that any of our team members can use. I know they can't see it, but it's in my way. So once you shoot a quick text message over, I'll show. This is Dialpad. I'm showing you the web-based version because I don't have Dialpad on this computer. But what is great is Dialpad actually it pulls up on my computer here, it's on my computer at home, it's on my laptop, it's on my cell phone. So anybody that calls that number can get a hold of me anywhere. So as we can see, Greg just sent over a text message, pops up on my computer, would chime, give me that kind of notification, but I also got it on my phone. What I was talking about with the multi-factor authentication side of it is when we set up Chase or whatever, we set up this special number, and we have all security tokens sent over to that number. Now, we have our internal team here, but I also have backend support team that's in India. We didn't give them a Dialpad number. So because we have the higher version of Dialpad, it integrates with Slack as well. And we've set it up that anytime a text comes in, it automatically gets forwarded to a private Slack channel. So the team can make the request. They know they're requesting it, automatically comes to them in Slack, and they're doing this 2 a.m. in the morning, our time, and still being able to push forward and get the work done.
Yeah. And that's a hell of a lot better than having them send that security code to your client at 2 o'clock in the morning and having them be like, what in the hell is going on with Parkway? Why are these guys doing this to me? I have found that's a very similar process to what I do. I have found that not every bank will allow you to set to the Dialpad number because it's not registered as an actual SMS number in some sort of database that they
Yeah.
use, but it takes care of 90% of your issues.
I'm glad you brought that up because he's right. Every once in a while we run into this for a lot of different types of things where it doesn't see it as an actual telephone number. But I can also tell you in the past when I've checked it, the same exact thing for whether it's Ring Central, Grasshopper, all the others, they don't play with VoIP at all. That when that occurs, we also set up a special security email address. So we've got the email and we've got the number. The email goes we use Microsoft Teams for everything. So we have a special channel. All notifications go right there. So it covers it on both sides. The last little part about security wise, which I always like to add, is when you have companies, if you have to answer certain questions, what was your grandmother's maiden name?
XR question mark apostrophe.
Yep.
HTT.
Do some kind of like a code thing, and can be consistent for your team that nobody else would ever be able to guess, because at the same time, now you never have to worry about your employees knowing answers to questions they could then take to something else, heaven forbid. I also love that one of my favorite features of this is when there's a phone call that I'm doing. If I'm on a support call and I'm not getting any love to actually get pushed forward, what I will usually do is click the little record button and it goes, "This call is now being recorded." You will be amazed how quickly people will pay attention as soon as you do that part. And you make sure you tell them, and if they put you on hold and they go away and they come back, I always say, just as a reminder, this call is being recorded for quality purposes, but it keeps them on target. Helps a lot.
Gotta rein people in, especially when you've got a lot of customer service people working from home and they're not necessarily. I don't mind kids in the background screaming. I was on the phone with United Airlines and you could hear the chickens in the backyard. And she said she actually lives in a 6-story apartment building, and the chickens were down there.
Oh wow.
But you know what? We're in weird times, and we want to be open to those sorts of things.
Okay, so now I actually want to ask everybody another question after that. In the comments, add on what's the strangest thing you've heard or seen in the background of a Zoom call or something. That could be.
Well, my favorite is the guy who's not a cat. I assure you, Your Honor, I'm not a cat. That's just the.
Yeah, that's
as if the judge was actually thinking that he might have been a cat.
Yes. So please add some stuff like that in the comments. It'd be great. And we're getting close to our time here. We always try to be very cautious and respectful of time. I'm going to pass forward from this stuff here.
Bank rules.
I love them.
Follow Matthew for bank rules, man. That's what he looks like when he's doing bank rules.
It's just I created a widget where we can create our own bank rules in Excel. That. Yeah. We basically fill it in and we can create 100, 200 rules all at once if we want to. All right. So as we get ready to close down here, I want to say thank you, obviously, for joining. More important, thank you for coming down to hang out.
Yeah, that was fun.
Really
fun
appreciate
last
it.
couple of days.
I'm going to let everybody know real quick. We've got UFOMA coming up next week, and hope everybody will join us for that. But this has been a really, really cool week. I'm a firm believer together we all succeed. And it's about getting together in person as best
together,
we can. Right? So it's been cool. You got here a night and a half ago.
Right? I got here like 3 a.m. It was a last minute, spur of the moment sort of thing, but I'm glad I was able to get her done.
I got a general rule. If you're coming into Ventura and you want to come visit, I always love to see people. You come into town, I'll buy you dinner. Please, it's a good place. So would love to have anybody that wants to come out to the area is welcome to. And as always, here's wishing you guys all a very successful week. Okay.
I know.
Bye, guys.